Our semi-finals here in the winners bracket. We've got Cozy, we've got Vicky. I can't wait for this one, guys. Take it away.
Alrighty, Vicky. Well, we've got the pick the ban phase, and this is going to kick off our third match of today. And obviously, right off the rip, we've got the Gambit and the Elsa being banned. So the Gambit, obviously, tip of the cap over there to the way Valentina and Forky play. Elsa not going to be available on the opposition side for Delina. Kind of expected this, Vic, so far.
Yeah, and I think we have to note here too, Cozy, Melophobia is back in rotation for Swamp Gaming. We saw a mating yesterday, and it highlights the flexibility of how Swamp Gaming like to roll out of their gates, mixing things up, and it really starts here in the pick and ban phase. No Vamp Pool to protect onto the Gambit for 100 Thieves, so they're already kind of showcasing what they want to prioritize, which forces out the Loki ban from Swamp Gaming side, but then you're going to be 100 Thieves and ban out the Mantis more than likely when you see that they were able to protect the Elsa.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great point with the Elsa save. We'll see how they continue to roll. The Daredevil going to be banned on the other side, so a lot of respect to Self, and on both sides for that matter. Self, Day, some of the most deadly Daredevils, deadly lawyers out there. Be perfect to hire if you needed one, but not in Krakoa. On the save here, going to go to Mantis for themselves on the 100 Thieves side. So now that changes things a bit. Are you thinking, where do you think they go with this ban, Vic?
What the? Okay, wait. This is interesting here too because it's not like I mean, you could run out with the Phoenix, right? Like that's kind of been like the other iteration that we've seen aside from the Elsa. When the team has Elsa banned, the Vamp Pool is going to be the next ban, and I'm expecting this last save to possibly be the Mantis here because then you're going to be able to get that damage boost onto the Elsa. We're gonna have to wait and see, Cozy, and there we go. That's what's gonna be highlighted here for Swamp Gaming. And then you're 100 Thieves wondering, okay, well, if they're gonna have that damage output, what is gonna be this final ban?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking at it too, having the Elsa for Melos, I mean, we didn't get to see too much Melo yesterday. Fun to see him come back into the limelight. I think Self is gonna take the role of that Mantis in the last ban on the other side there. Gonna make things a bit sticky having Loki out. Can't give Loki into this comp, right, with that Mantis as well. They took care of it on the other side. They're going to match the favor. Delina showing an Ultron, Winnie on the Mantis. So they're switching some things up from what we've seen in their previous couple of games.
Okay. All right, Cozy. We got to keep the party going here in the Americas region. You already know. We got the pick and bans already locked and loaded. Krakoa, and I also feel like, Cozy, it's not really a Cozy Vicky cast if we don't get a little bit of Clintar Krakoa into the mix. That's what I like to see. Swamp Gaming, Kraz, Days going onto the Ultron. We're seeing that happen a lot more often too. Forky Dog will have that BRB, but probably going to swap off. Once they come out of the gates, it's all about getting that extra shield. Or even if he does want to opt to stake onto it, we're going to have to see how they're going to be able to rotate this together with Swamp Gaming and Scatter, maybe opening things up with a portal play.
Yeah, what I'm going to be keeping my eyes on is that Self and Melo kind of roll to have all that duelist and DPS their side. Now, last time these teams faced off in domination, it was 1-1. 100 Thieves showed some life on the second bit, and then after that third zone, it was kind of all Swamp Gaming. Vicky, like I said, this team really shows how they're going to play for the day. Maybe they're all, out of adrenaline after what we saw the first couple of maps, trying to re-energize themselves for a long matchup, potentially. Scatter going to open up the portal and get this thing started, y'all. We've got a great one. Here we go. Point opening up in 15. Vicky, and we'll see how they choose to defend. I like the aggressiveness already from Swamp.
I'm so happy that we get to watch this again, too, because this is basically like my birthday series to watch, and I was sitting in the back watching you guys pop off. We're going at it again. Scatter taking a good amount of that damage here. As you can already see, Melo getting a good amount of pressure, being on the Elsa, needs some help with the pocket heals too. As Kraz finds the opportunity to dive onto the backline, they immediately go in to help heal for them, but it splits a good amount of attention, allowing Swamp Gaming to get at least some progress. They finally flip the point back in their favor, and it's about this harassment, the damage impact, as Forky Dog and Melo get the follow-up, get these 2 picks, and 100 Thieves are going to reset.
Yo, the value there from the man who could do it all, Kraz, was insane. He got the space and the pressure, and most importantly, the attention, right? Pushed them back, was able to kind of get a back cap, if you will. And then they were able to then turn the tide and push in, get the wipe and the win. 21% in climbing. Man could do it all day. Kraz is one to watch, especially if you are a Cat fan. This guy has been absolutely lethal. Days up in the air. We'll see how Delina matches. We kind of saw this with Rai Mazing. Like, I'm not crazy when we've got the DPS that can do some crazy things, right, on the Ultron. But this is a thing they like to flex into. Self has also taken that roll up. The team's showing their flexibility, Vic.
Right, because I'm always like, okay, right, we already know the Glartron's coming out, but it's going to be immediately deleted. Delena will have the extermination ahead of Daze. Scatter make a big play with the Eye of Agamotto. Millennia does have the Rage and Royal Flush. They're going to open things up with this first. Swamp Gaming are just trying to navigate around the invisible boundary up to Valentina. Tries to get the sleep originally, but the iframe's coming out. Mellow! This is what happens when you let Mellow have Elsa, and on top of it, too, the potential to have the damage-boosted Ultron and the Elsa. Sure, you could ban out Daze's Daredevil, but imagine this, Cozy.
There's a lot of great ults when they get interrupted mid-ult, and Ultron might be one of my favorite. I mean, just the sigh yell from the sky. I mean, that is got to be reflecting what 100 Thieves is feeling right now, because starting off slow, right? They typically do this often, 79% and up, and not a lot to the name. Self here with the Legendary. We'll see how they choose to use it. Gonna go ahead and open up with that aggression. TTK most likely going to take the defensive with this. Soul Resurgent going up will winning match. We'll see if the pressure comes with it. Mello hunting once again. Delena getting kicked like a clay pigeon. Mello finds another, and Forky Dog to follow. This is an absolutely tough look for 100 Thieves. Winnie gonna pop the Soul Resurgence late, with Vinny finally getting something rolling for the team, but it is just too late. These Thieves are getting locked up, Vic.
You're talking about like a clay pigeon. I mean, I was going to see that they're playing Duck Hunt maybe out here, but the Portal players are going to come in to contest on the point. Meteor goes up, overtime activated. Unfortunately, missing out on the big meatball, though. Just helping out and peeling for this backline that we kept highlighting between Forky Dog and Valentina. And then you add Daze to the mix. Forky Dog finds TTK, a great punish. And 100 Thieves, they got to give up this round because Swamp Gaming have something else to say to start up our series.
Holy locked in is Swamp Gaming. Did not stutter, Vic. And not only that, I mean, 100 Thieves threw everything but the kitchen sink at the end, and nothing came out of it. I mean, could not get anything rolling. Felt just discombobulated, a little staggered in there as well, straight from the first fight. But if we know anything, domination is not really the best indicator of how these matchups are going to go. But if it was, 100 Thieves need to get things rolling. Again, this team really kind of started coming into form here in the playoffs, and they often do, Vic, as we saw last year.
I like how you bring that up, too, because we've always mentioned, like, Dom is very volatile, but it's like these two teams scrim a lot. Like, we've heard it from the coaches themselves, and when it comes down to a tournament day, as you heard Kurova in the interview, it's about the team who shows up. You can't really catch in on those scrim bugs, but at the moment, Swamp Gaming are taking it home with that first round, literally 0 to 100. And you look at what's coming up for Swamp Gaming, they'll have the invisible boundary, Eye of Agamotto, Valentina making the swap up over the Jeff just so that way you could get those speed boost bubbles. And then they're going to try to go in for a portal play before Valentina swaps off.
Yeah, and again, you know, I think they thought that Gambit was going to be the best ban there, given how great this backline is. But you just, given that Elsa is a scary thing, as we've seen time and time again with Mello. Obviously, they didn't get a good homework look at this team, because Mello not playing as much last time. But we know what they did in week 1, week 2. Outside of being the man for the interviews, he's the man behind the scenes that does so much for this team. Kraz looking up top. Again, that distraction. They did this to get point. If they can get point early, this is such a tough comp to get it right back. Daze trying to find something here. Vic now as Forky Dog Scatter online, looking for the option.
This is what we're talking about when it comes to the old economy. Extermination is going to be activated from Daze. You look onto the other side, and there's really no sustain. Millennia is very close to that Rage and Royal Flush, but they're forced to back away, and they're allowing Swamp Gaming now to take control over the point after finding that pick onto Vinny. Now Swamp Gaming have the advantage first, and with Mello finding Winnie, we keep seeing more and more of these teams, Cozy, take full utilizations over their extra players that they have to sub in.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, just getting pure pressure and making that space as one unit. And who needs ultimates when Mello can just farm him up with the old neutral classic? Forky Dog and Scatter have their opening still, and they have a defensive measure, an opening, and an offensive ult as well. So they're fully loaded with the point, with a zone to their name. This is going to be a tough one here, as Mellophobe going to throw out the Apex Predator. Does it find a bite? No, it comes up empty, so at least they get a break there. 100 Thieves trying to find an opening and break their way out of this jail.
At least they're able to play right around these walls, though, and it's splitting up a lot of the attention from 100 Thieves. With the Rage and Royal Flush, though, they have the win button. Letta does get stunned temporarily before going in for the reset on the end song Inferno, but with Forky Dog having the invisible boundary, gathering everyone together, is then going to be Valentina cycling through with that other strategist ultimate. You're going to be able to have the Sun Seduction, Scattered Genji just trying to navigate away, but nobody is looking at Daze up into the sky. It's going to be the Ultron v Ultron battle, and with Scatter now diving in, it's going to find both of the strats. Everybody's feasting. If you are Scatter Genji and then you have Daze to follow up with with another 2K.
Yeah,
Make it
down. The Dr. Strange came from Marvel Rivals too. I mean, just came, got the 2-piece and both the strats with it. That was a fat Augo. Now with 78%. I mean, my goodness, what do you even do here at this point? Got to try to reset. We're seeing the changes on the heroes, trying to find a new opening, new plan. But sometimes when the pick ban phase goes the favor of Swamp, like this, there's not a lot you can do in terms of in-game adjustments. Go through the portal and hope for the best. Cerebro, will it be theirs for the taking? Daze has the already Age of Ultron on. Age of Swamp Gaming looking apparent. Gonna find one in Vinny. Vinny has fallen early in all these fights. Gonna be a tough look here as they're chasing down Delina. Delina finally finds some solace, but time is ticking. Time is out. Vicky, we're speedrunning.
Oh, no way. They just destroyed 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves had 0% on any of those rounds. I mean, Cozy, if we take a look at 100 Thieves specifically, I think a big issue too is when you're forcing triple support, which of course we see a lot of teams do it, but you're also splitting that ult economy with the Gambit, Rage, and Royal Flush if that's going to be the win condition that you lean into. Meanwhile, Mello comes in after we saw Madian pop off yesterday. You get the damage boosted Elsa to start off our best of 5 series.
Yeah, I don't know if they just wanted to, play with like a handicap or whatever, where they're like, you know what, like let's give them one by allowing the Elsa. Like that will not happen again, in my opinion. Backline as good as it is, as much as they don't want to play against, Gambit, you've got to get that Elsa out of here. Melophobia, welcome back, by the way, and what they can do in the playoffs, 6 finals, but absolutely flawless. No one falling except Valentina one time, Vic.
Oh my, the survivability. Again, this backline is so crazy. And sure, you ban out the Daredevil, but Daze being on the Ultron, popping off, also having a damage boost of their own. This is a really flexible team. We've seen 100 Thieves pull out some other tricks up their sleeve, but the fact that 100 Thieves have literally only 3 KOs in a speed run of a first map, Cozy.
Yes, and of course, if anything by today's standard can show us, or even yesterday, this is just getting started. It's a battle of adjustment. It's a game of inches at times, and you just got to figure out how to move your chess pieces in between these breaks a bit better. They could not do so when trying to capitalize on that point, but maybe in between these matches, they can reset and reload, because Vic, they've got to find another way. Y'all, we've got match number 2 between these 2 great teams and orgs coming at you after this quick break.
And just like that, we are back, and I am back. I didn't expect to be back this quickly, but alas, it's Swamp Gaming involved, so I'm not entirely surprised. They are speedrunning through the first map. Cozy, it kind of all went wrong for 100 Thieves, but before we start to look at that, what went right for Swamp Gaming? Like, what really stood out to you for them as a squad?
I mean, I can answer that with both, right? What went wrong and right is if you allow the Elsa, they got the Elsa, you got to ban the Mantis, right? Like, I think that's like the first step, because when you allow that, it just opens the floodgates. For me, it was just, man, the team just played together perfectly. And it was the stagger, as, Vicky and I like to say, the cloak and stagger on the other side. I mean, it was just constant stagger, which was tough then, because then they were able to dive in. And as Vicky pointed out in the cast, just put all that pressure towards Thieves.
And it did become a very one-sided affair. We have seen this happen already in preseason in the group stages, Vicky. Does this kill momentum for 100 Thieves? Off the back of yesterday, they were probably feeling pretty good. Vibes were high. You get slapped around like that. How do they bounce back?
I mean, I saw Delena in the chat earlier saying, oh, Remix is in McDonald's right now, maybe getting the team like a Happy Meal or something like that. I need him to come back home right now.
Is he still there?
Yeah, so we'll ring him real quick, because I think if anything, when you take a look at 100 Thieves, we're talking about individual players that are very talented that looked so disorganized. And right now, in a best of 5, sure, it leaves room for error, okay? But you only have so much right now. When Swamp Gaming are playing like that, you talk about momentum, and Swamp Gaming have all of it on their side as we get ready for game number 2.
One thing we do have to remember is, if you cast our minds back to the group stages, at one point 100 Thieves hadn't won a domination. We were like, are they ever going to win a domination? They were focusing on convoy convergence, so perhaps that is at least the saving grace here. Maybe there is a chance that they could find something as we move on into this best of 5. That being said, Cozy, even if we go all the way, we're still going to have to play domination again. So I am a little bit worried about this 100 Thieves team. If you're looking at 100 Thieves as a roster, though, and these 6 players, obviously all fantastic ones, do you think that they are going to be the type that would be dejected in this particular scenario?
No.
Are they the ones that would get down on themselves?
No, I will say this about the team, even though when they win something like they did yesterday and they kind of came off the interview like, it was cool, we had it all along. I think that's just kind of their moxie and like how they carry themselves as players too. Like, you can't get too high, can't get too low. I don't think this is going to affect them at all. And they've been here a lot, so I will give them that. They have plenty of it. My question is, where are they going to go, right? They've tried to take this team to Midtown back in the group. That wasn't the answer. I think that was actually a quick finish for them. They've taken teams kind of all over. If you look at when they've lost, like, where do they like to go with their next map pick? Because it's got to be one, like we've seen this for the teams that do bounce back. It's been this kind of home court advantage feeling for them, right? And, one thing I like for them a lot is Museum of Contemplation. Although, well, there it is. Cool. It's like I know what I'm talking about.
The prophet is here. Again, Cozy just seems to have it on the ball every single time. His predictions have been pretty good as well. Vicky, you had a good prediction earlier. You did have Zen winning against NRG as well. So you guys are definitely nailing it thus far. But Museum of Contemplation, Vicky, thoughts? Do you think this one is a chance for 100 Thieves? Do you think SG might just wipe the floor with them again?
I think it's a good chance. When I think about Museum of Contemplation and it came to like 100 Thieves with their back against the wall, I'm going back to like what we had looked at, Cozy, with the day number 1 in the group stages when NRG took them to game 3. And Museum of Contemplation, sure, despite 100 Thieves winning on it, it was so close. It did not look dominating. If anything, they did have some time to iron things out. I believe that was like 5-4 in favor for 100 Thieves, and that was with NRG making some interesting plays.
Well, 100 Thieves, they're 2-1, Cozy, so I think they're probably going to be feeling pretty good about this one.
No, for sure. And I think when you look at it, they play similar on this map, honestly, with Daze and the way that Self plays. So I'm interested if they're going to try to fuel up Self, because that's been their game plan a little bit here. Also, obviously, Delena has been able to have access to Elsa on a lot of these Museum of Contemplation maps as well. Don't think that's going to be allowed for them. I think they're smarter than that.
Well, Pick a Ban is ready. Vicky, Cozy, take us away.
All right, Vic. Here we go. The museum's open. It's late hours. It's going to be the Gambit once again from 100 Thieves. So they saw what Melophobia did on the Elsa, and they're like, all right, let's do it again, Vic. But you know what? I will say this. Remember we said this about, we lost yesterday. Like, they can't possibly allow XYZ. And they did. And they ended up winning that.
Yeah, true. And it's been interesting, to say the least, when it comes to looking at some of the pick and bans that we've had go down, as the Gambit is protected on the side of 100 Thieves. The fact, though, that they didn't want to prio ban the Elsa is also a question mark, because kind of going back to what you were just saying, Cozy, it looks like that's going to get through, but surely the Mantis will be the next ban.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem, I think, from that last map. If they could get rid of that, they're going to be able to have a much different fate, or at least try to here, looking at what they want to go with. And they're thinking about it down to the last 10 seconds, seeing what they want to go with. The Gambit save on their side. Millennia ready to play the man with Invis being banned as well. So they're attacking the backline. Obviously, we talked about this with TLC a little bit, how you try to have to find what works in the ban phase, and this attacking the backline is what we've seen a lot of them try to do. They just fear the devil himself in days. So that is where the priority goes. And it's just the same song and dance.
Yeah. And we know that when it comes to the strategist backline of Swamp Gaming, they are so flexible. They will survive no matter what strat you put this backline on. And that's the strength of Swamp Gaming, because then you try to target the duelist. Guess what? They're flexible, and they also have a sub if they wanted to go for a different plan. You target the Vanguards, another flexible lineup. It's so hard when it comes to dealing with these teams that could take anything out. They're lingering over the Loki. They're going to end up banning that Loki, so they see the Protect on the Mantis, because they also don't want to have an unexpected, maybe, group Mantis-Loki team up coming out of the gates.
Yeah, so this is very similar to what they just did, and we'll see if that works. I do like the wolf save. I think Dog was saying we don't have a ton of great wolves in the America scene, which is a lot of truth to that. Obviously, I think Daze plays a great one as well. Self and Daze, two of the great wolves. Terra obviously left, and he was probably the best in a wolf. I think this could definitely give them a fighting shot, but you're going to give the strategist Jeff here, which I think is a very favorable Jeff map as well. So even though they attacked that back line, left some stuff open for the team, we just saw Valentina go that direction. We'll see what they lock into. I'm just shocked that that Mantis is open.
I can't believe they let it happen again. And on this map, you were just talking about, like, with the open sight lines on Museum of Contemplation. Yeah, maybe a little late over here on the East Coast, but you gotta get locked in. Not at the museum, almost, as we take a little trip here for the second game. And looking at the pick and ban phase already, maybe it's gonna take some time to figure out, or it could really work out in 100 Thieves' favor. We're gonna have to see, since they're the ones starting things off on the attack. They'll be able to get some of the extra shields too, Millennia being on the rocket. But we also talked about the Groots, and Vinny will be able to have that available, but they will not have the Loki, and it's not like they're going to be the one to opt for that Mantis. But if they do want to roll out on that, Delena would be that priority that you want to be able to damage. Himself already starting off on the Wolverine, as we've seen so many times too, Cozy. They could expect maybe that triple Vanguard hold up, but that's not the case here, right? It's going to be the triple strategist that Swamp Gaming is holding down for.
Yes, Vicky, well said. And man, this is going to tell us everything we need to know about how tonight's going to go. When these gates open, what 100 Thieves are we going to get after match one was an absolute massacre. 100 Thieves, gates open, jail is ready, the jailbreak is free. Vinny on the classic tree, and they push forward here. I mean, I do like the Vanguard picks and the selections they have. Delena's going to really have to carry the load in terms of that DPS. But man, Self could be a lot of fun. We're going to have to see what he can do on Logan.
Hopefully he doesn't get isolated by the Vanpool bubble, though, as the dive comes in from Kraz before just swinging out, trying to force out more of these cooldowns. But talk about a lot of that extra damage, gets the swap over to the Cloak, reloads, as well as sending out the Terror Cape. Kraz, though, again, doing the deed and just trying to harass them. Millennia is going to be on that Gambit again, just trying something different with Vinny, trying to clear up some passing space. They try to get the kidnap going here too. But Mello, being sneaky, finds Winnie unexpectedly after getting hit with the ricochet, finds another head, make it 3. Mello! We saw a Median shine yesterday. Today, we get to see Mello farm.
Yeah, Pikachu shock face that the old Elsa with the Mantis is going off. I mean, that is what we were afraid of, and it's happening right when the gates open. Because what you're going to need from 100 Thieves is Delena's going to have to pop the Ultron, try to find some type of pick early, but that's so tough with the pressure that Mello can give. Daze is going to have ult here as well, so they're going to go aggressive with the Glartrox yet again. Millennia does have ult, so we'll see how they use this reactively and rotate over. Good positioning from Swamp Gaming as well. I like the way they're playing this point, giving this free little up court here. I think now this is going to be favorable, though, in terms of the comp for Jean Grey and Delena. Can they get the pick? He does, opening up the door. It's Forky Valentina. This is exactly what they needed. Delena, give this team a chance. 1, 2, 3, 4 go down. And just like that, before I could even say it, the poke lane opened up and they closed down. That was impressive.
Yeah, that's Delena V triple support right there. And Delena came through and then even got a nice little 4K by the very end with the Rage and Royal Flush. Delena heard the call and they answered. They get that first checkpoint. And if you look ahead here, Cozy, Vinny does have that Groot hug with the Strangling Prison. Delena too with a reset opportunity.
But keep your eyes on Self. That 81%, they are going to be able to get a potential 2-3, especially on the strategist side, and that's going to be what is going to give them all this space if able. Here comes Daze to open up. Don't think I love this because of the ults available and the rotation they can do. Wow, found Crest just like that. Easy, and that's why Self is on that as kind of like a peel, as well as the aggression as well. Great communication there. Daze's ult, goodbye, and Kraz just disappeared.
Not sure if the Venom in the long run is actually going to be able to get the beneficial pressure that they're looking for the back line. The Elsa trying to get sneaky as Melania, the bouncer to help back them up and keeping everybody else sustained. Scatter then tries to rotate in, also harass the back line too. But Delena is going uncontested as we get the quick pause though. Daze at the very end did get a pick onto Melania. That's something to note. And while we do get set up here, Cozy, and seeing what we have in store for us, we had some ultimates online here too, right? We had Delena with the Ensong Inferno that wasn't used yet too, as well as Self, who has that final stand. But Valentina did pop that Mantis ultimate right before that pause to bring everybody up to health.
Yeah, this is probably going to be a wipe, at least on this battle right here. You can tell with the Soul Resurgence being activated by Valentina. I don't think they need to use anything else for it. Self and Vinny are both low, so that's my expectation for this fight. But there's 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. So great first point push. What we've seen 100 Thieves kind of run into over and over again, and not just them. Lots on this map, Vic. We just casted this the other day in live in Austin. I mean, the second point on this map is so tough to take. And so if they can wipe here, reset, and then they have to win essentially 2 more fights from it, I will say I'm impressed with how dominant they were able to get through that opening gate. But yeah, 100 Thieves allowing the Elsa Mantis, that is something that is a bit scary. But we are going to get this thing right back on. The pause is gone, and Vicky, what do you know? It was a wipe.
Yep, I mean, it was inevitable. You talked about it perfectly, Cozy. You literally highlighted just the play-by-play of what was going to go down in that fight, just looking at the ults that were popped alone and what was available for 100 Thieves, the lack of sustainability as those ultimates were not online. But I think a big highlight to how they were able to get to that first checkpoint, 100% is on Delena. And if you look at that pick and ban phase, you simply just have to be better in that Elsa v Phoenix matchup.
Absolutely. Here now is Kraz trying to just find air to breathe. The CC changes are not here yet. Wishing they were. Self does have that ult ready. Keep your eyes on that. Ooh, and the cards are ready to go. Raging Royal. There is a quick selfie. He's going to use it all on the Symbiote. Goodbye, Venom. As he's like, not today. And that's just that sustain and oftentimes annoyance, right, Vicky? And man, so I wanted to do that to Venoms in my own ranked games at times.
I was going to say, why did that feel like so personal? Maybe I'm speaking from my own bias of having to deal with the Venom, be the fly swatter that we just saw Self be. And they still have 4 ultimates online here, Cozy. Look at Forky Dog, who wants to help with the sustainability for Swamp Gaming.
Yeah, this is great. I actually love they're going to have both together, but this is planned as they combo-wombo it out. They get 2 down. Gambit with the Cloak and Dagger. Perfection at play. Love the use of everything here, but oh my gosh, can they do this without doing an additional fight? But Scatter, no! Finds 2 in the madness. Are you kidding me? Scatter now. Merc with the mouth, wanting more. Katana's out. Looking, slicing, and dicing. 94 and up. How is he alive? He goes down. 3.39. This is why this point is so hard to take, Vicky. When someone gets a little bit of air, it's hard to close them out. But Vinny throws down the wall and gets himself a 2-piece, and it looks like they're going to claim this point.
Oh, and they force out a stagger here, too. Eventually, they find Daze, but with the Strangling Prison... Oh, yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. Another stagger here, too. Forky Dog meeting the rest of Swamp Gaming back in the spawn room gates. But this is good, right? When you find those 2 late picks, you build up some space. And I'll be so honest with you, Cozy. When it comes to this 3rd checkpoint especially, it's so difficult. You have to stay on that point, quite literally, when it becomes that rubber duck floaty. And you have to be wary of that vertical hurt box there, too, when you're playing around the sides of the duck.
Yeah, honestly, though, I think 100 Thieves is just pumped the way they've played so far. This is the map they had to get right. We've kind of seen 2 sides of Thieves from this so far. Having 2 minutes and 38 on the clock is massive for them. And it's kind of having Swamp now second guess themselves, right? That's what you want. You got to get into the mental a bit of these amazing players. Daze going up, slamming down, going to try to find the tree. Nothing from it. Vinny going to escape away. Love the angle here from Delena. Going to go in and pick off one by one. His whole headshots here. Fire making against the old grass type, as I like to say. Oh, this is going to be a good kidnap here from Day. Slicing, dicing, TTK trying to find escape. There's the band hammer on. Looking for more. Valentina escapes and gets the eternal bond out. Beautiful play.
It took him to Wintertide. That's going to happen when you have to deal with the group putting down those walls, but keeping everybody alive. It's going to be Valentina on the Cloak and Dagger, the Eternal Bond, coming in clutch, and Forky Dog will have that dance-off with the fate of both worlds for this upcoming fight, and they're going to need it with Self and Winnie to be there to delay the inevitable for the Raging Royal Flush for Millennia.
Yeah, good highlight there. I mean, they didn't have to use much to win that fight. Delina, though, getting Mellow out, so their damage is gone, and now it's just trying to stay alive as long as you can through it all. But, oh, no, there goes the I am dead in the spawn. The Groot is not going to be able to use the ult just like that. Kraz trying to find something going. I think Kraz, we've seen so great play from him, but Vinny showing why he is the OG tree.
He yeeted that nade. Fine scatter. We were talking about Kraz like possibly swapping, and when Kraz goes over to the group, sure, you can put up these walls, deal with the pressure that Delina's been putting in, but you also have to try to match that with Vinny, and we've seen Vinny pop off so many times on this group, Cozy, and they have two tools ready together with Delina with a reset opportunity here. When you look at Swamp Gaming, they really only have Valentina that needs to get that Eternal Bond shortly.
No, this is a perfect play and opening now for 100 Thieves as Kraz is going to get one down. Delina being the big one at that, but it's going to be the rest of the Thieves to come in. Might be down a few, but able to push into this back pit. Oh my, Glartrox, Melophobia. Absolutely disgusting. Can Millennia get away? He's trying his best to dash, flip, every cooldown used. Melophobia won't let him. Wow, he finds the duck for safety.
You know when you're always on the edge of your seat, you hate that you have to reload. They get away, but it's the pressure that matters, Cozy, because right now, Mellow off that Glartrox, after we just saw a huge strangling prison from 100 Thieves from Vinny's hand, just basically got shut down. And now you look at the ultimates that they at least have those tools for this next fight.
Yeah, they're able to rotate in. Expect this to be a long overtime, folks, because you got the Strange at play as well. This is going to be at least 2 fights. Most likely, you've got the Banhammer alongside the Insong Inferno, and that's going to allow everyone else to get to their ult. Self will be able to follow. Winnie's going to be able to have the Eternal Bond, so this is going to be every Q press, every graphics card begging for life. TTK finds Days out of there immediately. Now they're going to put the pressure on as the Banhammer comes out. Valentina going to throw out the Eternal Bond. Scatter finds Self in the trade, so it's 1 down on each side. Closer spawn, favoring both. Winnie 2-1 away from that Eternal Bond, ready to click the Q. It comes out, paving the path to hopefully victory as Forky finds Delina. At this point now, having to trade over, maybe get to the Strange. But Vinny on that Venom, Vicky, is keeping them in it. Finds another. Vinny is playing out of his mind. The tank's getting it done.
The Vinny going in with the anti, the follow-up as well. Forky Dog has the dance-off, though, as Days will come back. Mellow is the nail in the coffin. They have to deal with Millennia. The Raging Royal Flush is right around the corner, and that will be a lot of pressure. But with Self also using the Extermination, they're cycling through these ultimates. Gambit never folds, or will he fold here? No, he won't, because Mellow is the first victim. Days is coming back. Valentina and Forky Dog do not have that sustainability, and with overtime ticking away, it's going to be a neutral fight between these two teams, unless Days has something else to say.
Self able to be on this point so long there with Vinny, keeping this thing alive as TTK was able to switch on over as well. Farming up that Nagamoto, gonna open up. That's gonna be 3 for the Wolf. Ult slams down. No connection though. Nothing coming from it from the X-Men. Winnie now with the ult. Gonna try to find something rolling for their team on the strategist front. Vinny though just farming down the spawn. Forky back to the room. They're gonna stay. Winnie's gonna get another as well. Everybody doing their part for these Thieves. All but empty, but Mellow and Kraz find 2 to answer. Vicky, this is absolutely neck and neck.
The desperate eye of Nagamoto when everybody was stuck in the group hug from Kraz. Then you follow up because Scatter is jumping on their foreheads like he's playing a whole different game. And Mellow consistently putting down the pressure. We just saw 100 Thieves at the very least, though, before they got stopped before that 3rd checkpoint, Cozy, show signs of life. I gotta say, Vinny was a big highlight aside from Delina.
Like 40 hero moments for like nearly every player there, and I really feel like Thieves, even though they allowed obviously the Elsa Mantis, people were obviously begging why, showcased that they had the game plan ready to go, and that's even with the double ults going into point 2, but worked out quite smoothly. I think, for this map, this is a tough map to push all the way, Vic. That's definitely, they're happy with that result, clearly. Obviously there at the end fight, a couple ways they could have done those ults slightly different, but when you have Melophobia going into hero mode with that plot armor, the anime arc, Can't be stopped. Here we go. We'll see what Swamp comes out offensively with.
You know when like a play happens and you're just like looking at the other player wondering what those comms sound like? I wonder what it was when Vinny was able to isolate Forky Dog, still get that pick, look behind him, and the rest of the 100 Thieves are just destroyed. They're gone. They were stuck in the strangling prison. You saw an Eye of Agamotto out of left field, and you cannot reset, not even the portal contest that could come out. Swapping sides now though, Cozy. Swamp Gaming, they're able to hold it back, but we know it's very hard to get this payload to the finish line on Museum.
Yeah, what was the Achilles heel for this team was that Melo kept finding Self in the air, or at that time, the Ultron on the last map, and they were able to just keep on pushing in after that first pick. So the survivability of these strategists is what you want to keep your eyes on here. Vinny obviously going to be on the Venom for this first push, and he says he's not a one-trick tree. Obviously showed how insane he is on the Guardian of the Galaxy, but very good Venom as well. Going to go ahead and throw from downtown to open up Kraz, holding down the W, remove the S key in action. Scatter now leading the charge as well. There's Vinny for the little bit of distraction, trying to get those cooldowns out on the first dive. Going to go right back up to the pillar. Keep your eyes here on the north. TTK getting low. Good use of the Terror Cape. And just like that, Scatter trades him out. Perfect teamwork there from Swamp.
And Vinny taking a lot of pressure too. We saw a freeze from Forky Dog before Vinny's trying to fly away. Millennia does get that trade-off though onto Kraz, so no walls available. But Melo has been the server admin, as we usually see when it comes to the Elsa. But I like to see the different iteration of 100 Thieves. We mentioned this in our last game here, Cozy, where Winnie could opt to go for that Mantis. It's going to be a different version with the Phoenix instead, dealing a lot of more of that impact. And Melo is very close to that Glartrox.
Good call out here, Vicky. And just like that, we've got a triple stun there. Self going to throw up the age of Ultron with the Glartrox to boot. And there it is. Down goes Ultron once again. Just no value coming from that ult. Is going to be from Self. Down is the Insong Inferno, and everybody popping their Q. Forky Dog forced to go ahead and keep them alive, and they're just getting rid of these thieves one by one, as we saw in the domination. Don't love this ult from Millennia. They think they can still contest. It's going to go everything with it, and they're trying to combine the Vinny ult, Beast of the Abyss with it. Did not find the combo. Kind of going all in, crossing their fingers it would work. Didn't happen to get the connection. Oh my gosh, Vicky, with TTK getting down one, but the portal comes out from Self now. Momentum pushing forward for 100 Thieves.
It was 14 days, like group hugging each other behind the wall for safety, and Forky Dog unfortunately was the first to get sacrificed by the big meatball of the Meteor M. Those walls just providing such extra play here for our pros to work around on Museum, but Valentina's very close to the Eternal Bond. Kraz also is very close to having that Strangling Prison. A lot of CC available with Days 2. Nice little stun. Oh, Valentina getting stuck on the payload, but it's fine. Is able to get everybody up to health. You see the group wall on the other side. Nice block off there and communication. Trying to isolate some members of 100 Thieves, but they haven't gotten this first checkpoint just yet. It's still being stalled. Somebody else needs to recontest here as TTK is going to be that next body on the point.
I mean, Thieves are just a team that love risk versus reward, right? As Days goes up, slams down, says, I'll finish it myself. But yeah, this is a team that loves the risk versus reward. We just saw how much they used to try to stall the point even more. But you know what? Point 2 is where it's at, right? This is where you take down all that time on the clock. So they could be happy with a little bit of a slow point 1 hold. But Melo's like, push forward, break this wall, get them the open sight lines for the poke. But that only opens up for Delina. We got to see if Delina can get these important picks, as we just saw on their offensive approach. Looking at the ult, Vicky, you do have the Raging Royal ready to go. They'll combine that with the Insong once again. And on the defensive side, not much here for Swamp other than one lethal Apex Predator.
It's going to be the win button that they want to rely on here. See if 100 Thieves are able to take advantage of the Wombo combo. It's going to be the Raging Royal Flush to open things up. Take a look, though, at Melo, who's backing away. Glartrox in Melo's pocket, ready to go, but with Vinny fighting Kraz, they won't have the safety behind these walls. No playmaking opportunity here, but it's going to be that 1v1 that we have. Melo baiting Delena into that side room, isolating Delena away from the line of sight of the strategist.
Oh, absolutely disgusting. Gonna come up empty. The Glartrox is hungry, but yeah, big pick on Delena there, but the spawn's so close. Not too big of a deal now as that Living Bullet comes out, tracks 1, allows them to see through the wall, 2 with it. Gonna go ahead and throw the trap out, see if the rotate can hit. And just like that, really good positioning from Meliophobia. Scatter, can he hit it? Throws up, down, no connection. Good last shield there. I track those cooldowns a bit better if you're Scatter. Either way, here comes the Luna. Groot ult up as well. Scatter gonna find Vinny. They got to get this wipe, Vic.
Yeah, I'm also looking to see if the Gambit was even there for an ante. With being pressured all the way to the back end, though, Mello has claimed heads and claims another one from the victim that is Self. They've cleared out 100 Thieves, forcing Vinny, who hovered over the Doctor Strange to maybe portal in, actually just goes over to the Venom. They're literally stuck in the spawn room gates, and they're just going to get the better spawn all the way in the back. Mello, like the terrifying raid boss, looking down at the barrel of where 100 Thieves was stuck.
Yeah, the Thief Hunter. I mean, that was textbook, not allowing any fight. I mean, that point 2 should have at least 2 fights. 3 could go up to 4. I mean, we've seen that happen time and time again. Portal coming out with the block. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Absolute perfection here as the float is inside the portal. What in the multiverse are we looking at?
And trying to get out, but they're getting blocked. No, this portal play. There's no way the floaty works for Swamp Gaming. I mean, I didn't know the floaty was going to be a 7th player.
I was going to say, that's the interview we've got to have after the match. I mean, that was a textbook player of the game moment, but either way, we'll see now as the Wolverine's flying above like a horror movie. Days trying to find the last laugh. His dice up, finds 2. Now it's the Staggerfest all over. This is a history repeating itself from that Dom match. Such a great offense approach from 100 Thieves, but Mello now just having fun out here. They've got 2 minutes to close in a few distance.
Now you know why. When we comes to the pick and ban phase, everybody, why we talk about the Elsa. Then you add the damage boost. That's the potential right there. Sure, they don't have it at the moment with no Mantis because they don't really need it. Mello's got the Glartrox ready. Tries to get away. Manages to get healed up safely. A huge time, but the floating! The 7th player on Swamp Gaming's team actually ends up allowing the clip to come through and saving Swamp Gaming.
The new mascot of Swamp Fear, the Swamp Fear, the float here now is going up and down, no connection. Gonna be Vinny going for the Feast of the Abyss with it to Lina. Trying to find a reset in the white room, gonna do so, gonna get the connection. Gotta watch this point though, 0.78 left, 1 minute 49. If they can win this wipe, it gives them a little bit more of a chance as Winnie's still able to ult, right? And they could keep this thing ticking out, but Swamp Gaming has everything ready for this Infinity War. Days, Self, Logan v. Logan. Absolutely perfection for a Marvel movie moment. Homophobia looking up, also has that Apex Predator. Trying to get some good poke damage in. Gonna go ahead and just use this from the back. They all know the ults are ready. Scatter gonna open things up here. Can he slam down the purple ball? No connection. Here we go.
Mello is so scary. Everyone getting grouped up together, though. That's going to be Kraz in the Strangling Prison. But Winnie, who doesn't get caught by that, is able to use the Eternal Bond since they're not going to be stunned. And now you have the dance-off from Forky Dog to keep everybody in this fight. But look for the angles and look for the communication. You see the walls getting set up. They're building a house, and their Glartrox may be the landlord, but you have to see as the pressure comes in, and with the movement, Mello claims another victim. Their Glartrox is out trying to feast, but Kraz is too busy having seconds here, and now Swamp Gaming clear out 100 Thieves, and they get the next map, leading the series now 2-0.
Wow, what an absolute response from Swamp. And we've seen that time and time again. It is a team that can just adjust. And I mean, listen, they did great on the offensive side, but they allowed the absolute server admin, not just an Elsa, with the Mantis to boot. It can be a tough look, even though they didn't have to, utilize it there at the end if you're Swamp. Changing it up, looking at it, Scatter coming in with that MVP, 32k damage. Absolutely disgusting.
Here, and then Mello with nearly 40k. Sure, Delena we saw was popping off, right? That 40k coming in clutch. They even rolled out with that Mantis with the damage boost. But the way that Swamp Gaming are playing, their positioning, the communication, I love it here. Days also going to be able to isolate a lot of these players in that third checkpoint, vertically high to low ground, Cozy.
Yeah, and I think they're just okay with giving Millennia that gambit. But we'll see if this can change in the best of 5. It's 2-0. Don't go away. This could be our last matchup between these two teams. We're going to take a quick break and then back to the action.
Welcome back, everyone, to Marvel Rivals Ignite preseason playoffs, and we are amidst a 2-0 lead to Swamp Gaming at the moment. It does not look like they are slowing down. Cozy is as correct as always, but Vicky, it was a much better showing from 100 Thieves there. I thought that maybe they were going to get it done. Alas, instead, Swamp Gaming, they just looked a little better when it came to those kind of clutch moments, didn't they?
Yeah, you wonder, not only is the paid actor Ducky going to come through as a 7th player for Swamp Gaming, there's a lot of questionable moments looking at 100 Thieves. The portal plays that Cozy and I were chuckling about in the break, but also, are we going to ban the Elsa, guys? Is it going to happen, Gaskin?
I mean, I would hope so. I was saying this all yesterday. I was saying, why are we letting the likes of Elsa or Gambit get through, especially if you have the option to ban one, if not both? Cozy, your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, Millennia died there, 9 times, which is rough. If you look at all the strategists, there's like 5 and 7. I think Winnie died 7 times as well. So when you have 9, they kind of just show like kind of what they wanted to do with it. I mean, overall, it just felt like on the big movie moments, right? When it was like time was ticking and everything was on the line, there was a lot of stars that shined, but it was just always this, talent and sync job. I don't even know the word I'm trying to find. Swamp Gaming, though, showed just great unity throughout, and I think that's what gave them the upper edge.
That's what Swamp Gaming do to us. They make us speechless at times, and for good reason with the way they're playing. Vicky, I mean, I'm going to start the discussion early, because with the way it's going, we might be seeing Team Liquid sooner than we thought. Swamp Gaming, Team Liquid seem to be our 2 teams at the moment. Are you still thinking that Swamp Gaming are just behind Team Liquid, or are we starting to think that they are a little bit closer with what you've seen so far today?
Look, I'm just going to say that Swamp Gaming and Liquid Citadel may be the hope that America needs when it comes to looking at the action happening in EMEA, because what is going on in the pick and ban phase, guys? It's Vicky After Dark. It's almost midnight here on the East Coast, and I will be transparent, by the way. I talked to the coach from Swamp Gaming right before the series, and Fox was like, yeah, I know it's pretty late on the East Coast. Don't worry. We have this in the bag. So, you know what? I guess they really are putting that on display, and I was here like, well, what do you mean? I wanted this to go to the distance. We've had nonstop great action all day long. Why not keep this going? But now 100 Thieves, I think, have to figure things out, because currently Swamp Gaming are at match point, Gaskin.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, 100 Thieves have played Heart of Heaven twice and have won it twice. We've not seen yet Swamp Gaming on it. So again, statistics would suggest this is a good map and mode here, Cozy, for 100 Thieves. Do you agree with it? Do you think this is the start of a comeback? We've had some crazy things happening in Americas thus far. What are the chances of us getting a 100T comeback here?
Yeah, man, we'll find out at the big ban phase. But also, I feel like, I mean, what's crazy to me is that, like, they save the wolf, right? They're like, all right, Self, you ready to pop off, King? And then Days just goes crazy. I mean, you said at the break how just they have so much synergy and flexibility. Synergy was the word I was looking for earlier. By the way, yes, I know I got held back in 2nd grade. Couldn't scramble. Either way, I feel like, can they adjust, right? We've continued to see this. We continue to say that. Remix, the coach, whoever's picking these bans, we've got to see them attack what has been the biggest pain point for the team. And I think there's a couple things you can highlight. Obviously, those strategists are, goated there, but it's got to be the Elsa.
Vicky, do you think it's a case of, like, arrogance? Because we've seen this a few times throughout yesterday, actually, where teams would continue to not ban a hero because they felt like they had the ability to deal with them, and they continued to go for that strategy. At what point do you turn it around? At what point do you turn to each other and say, hey, it's clearly not working, we're 2-0 down here, we kind of have nothing to lose? Surely they kind of switch up the strategy.
It's a good question, because in this best of 5, sure, you have some extra room to breathe, but right now with Swamp Gaming sitting at match point, it comes to question, okay, well, you don't have the Elsa to play at your hands because now you're stuck on a Phoenix because Swamp Gaming banned it, so you rely on the Gambit, which could win in terms of getting the ultimate. That's the get ready set go button, but then you have an Elsa controlling neutral, especially on a map like Museum. I think that has to be the answer. You eventually have to see it if it doesn't work twice back to back.
I do feel like that Swamp Gaming are just beating 100 Thieves in every aspect, in every area at the moment. I was just saying off air, the versatility of Swamp Gaming has been incredible so far this season. It doesn't really matter. They could go into a lock and ban phase and they could be beaten in that phase. Some teams could target them and they will still find a way through, because they're one of those teams that just have so much success on any hero they play. Cozy, do you think a lot of that comes down to how good they are at the neutral? Like, this team is just so good individually and very good at working together as a team as well, but when you can look at certain players to step up, there's always someone there to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, the fact that they are in sync, the damage numbers is impressive. If you look at the stat sheet, if we like try to get the numbers together, we'd be like, wow, 100 Thieves, they did so much in that department. It was just finishing off those moments, those clutch fights, or getting that one extra pick to really get the snowball rolling. And it felt like every single time is either in the neutral, as you just said, it was Swamp Gaming that was able to just continue to push and impose their will, if you will. Heart of Haven, though, I believe this is when 100 Thieves went against Flag Quest, right? And that was such a dramatic, crazy ending to that game. So I think that's why they're going here, right? Going and play a map that favors. I think they might try to go with a Self Daredevil save, potentially. Daredevil can go absolutely crazy on this map. We saw Self do that before. That's my guess, the route they take.
And Vicky, I mean, 100 Thieves are not going to be happy with... Let's say they lose here and they drop down to the lower bracket, and let's say at best case scenario they get top 3, right? They lose to both Liquid and SG, who are the 2 top teams at the moment. Do you think a team like 100 Thieves and these players would be happy with that? Or do we think going into post preseason we start to see changes, or changes considered at least?
I 100%. This is not a team that's going to be complacent. Like, we know, we've talked to the 100 Thieves teammates, like, individually, and we know that, they feel when they're proud, oh yeah, they're proud, and they'll be vocal about it. But in this case, I feel like, sure, you've had some time to review what went wrong in the group stage. This is a team that we all had at the very top end of that respective group. And obviously, like, just with the current patch that they're playing on, and it's not the most recent patch, by the way, that just dropped with Black Cat, just for anybody who may not know, they have to determine, okay, well, if this is not really working out for them, maybe they have to showcase more of that flexibility that we've seen other teams really utilize, Gaskin.
Well, will this be the start of a comeback for 100 Thieves, or will we see the shutout from Swamp Gaming? Only one way to find out. Let's jump into the lock and ban. Cozy, Vicky, it's all on you.
All right, Vicky. Yes, I mean, listen, when you look at the lower bracket, if 100 Thieves does in fact get pushed down there, I mean, they can look very favorable, right? You have Lunex, Sentinels advancing. I think 100 Thieves is fine with at least the Sentinels side. They 2-0 them back in the first week, Lunex as well. But they've got to show some life here as Elsa is finally banned. Getting into match number 3, we've got ourselves some change in the air, Vicky. Will it change the result?
They heard our pleas, and they answered. We get to mix things up. And you know what happens, Cozy? Sometimes when you want to be stubborn, want to stick to it, it's not going to work out. You see the Gambit protect, though, and that's kind of like the give and take, right? We always know if it's not going to be the Elsa, it's going to be the Gambit that's protected. It comes out from both sides, which then procs the Loki ban automatically. And I love that we see this Daredevil ban because, as you said, we have 2 strong Daredevils from each side. Days on the other side, Self from 100 Thieves. So they both banned the Daredevil, especially on this map.
Yeah, kind of shocked that they did not save the Daredevil. And I think that's why you got the immediate ban right there as well. They want to go with the Gambit, though, and that's, that's the game plan they kind of rolled into this. They are at least changing up a bit of the ban front, but some of these bans are going to stay the same. They continue to ban this back line, but this time going to go with a different look. Scatter getting attention from them, I think, has absolutely popped off on their angle. Last save for them, Vic, for 100 Thieves. Gonna go, looking like they're gonna go Star-Lord. I don't hate the pick.
I mean, that's kind of like what we see when it comes to having the Gambit protect, too. Like, that's the priority they want to rely on, and that would be, like, the win con if they go for the Starlight. But they don't go for it on 100 Thieves side. So I do like this with the Vanpool. We also know that Vanpool on Convergence, right, or these longer maps on Convoy 2, especially with a lot of stop potential, goes crazy in terms of the skill potential. The Invisiwoman, that is going to be the final ban that Swamp Gaming puts onto 100 Thieves.
Alrighty, so we'll see what they lock in with the options they have available. Obviously, as you just said, with one team getting that access to the Star-Lord Gambit, I do like having the option for TTK to stay on that Deadpool. You get rid of it on the other side, right? This is, I'm not going to say the last we see of this, but with these new patches, the winds of change is definitely going to happen for the Vanguard role and position, both with the CC changes and on. But for now, this is the patch we are on, and map number 3. Surely Thieves won't let it happen again, getting swept by Swamp Gaming. But right now, it is all the Swamp, Vic. And locking in, this is what we've got on the defensive side. What do you like?
Seeing here, Valentina being on the Gambit. You mentioned Swamp, though. I know Shrek will be very happy to hear that he may not have to give up much real estate before we see Forky Dog perhaps swap off here. And it's just about giving that extra health over to the rest of Swamp Gaming before rolling out on the Invisiwoman. Days 2 being on the Doctor Strange means that they will have that team up. And look at this positioning too, because we also have to highlight something that didn't work out for 100 Thieves in that first map, Cozy, was the Rogue. It was so detrimental to at least get an opening, but now Swamp Gaming have that Rogue and Gambit team up available.
Yeah, the Rogue can be absolutely crazy, and especially with what they do so well in diving that back line here. Mello going to go ahead and try to get things rolling for this team as they look on from above. Again, this is a map they have not played in, and it doesn't matter as Mello finds Delena instantly as the Psylocke. The Yokai is very much haunting her. Now it's quickly Scatter going to find another. You just highlighted it best. My gosh, it is just pure pressure right away. Yeah, get back into spawn. Get back into that temple, yells Days with a quick whip. Crazy.
The Southern Belle also got the gloves strapped on too. And following up off the ante, if for those of you guys wanting to get better at Marvel Rivals, just paying attention to what these player comms probably sound like is, I'm going to assume, on another level. The communication is flowing for Swamp Gaming. They're locked in. 100 Thieves, though, another attempt with Winnie being on the Jeff. Is this going to be enough with the Jeff and Millennia being on the Gambit? They're going to be able to help sustain Forky Dog as they're going to get dove on by Vinny. And even though the attention is split, it does cause Kraz to go down. It's a trade-off with TTK also meeting themselves in the spawn.
Yeah, a lot of 100 Thieves' entire game plan is going to be behind Delena getting this opening pick. Did find one there with Kraz. Gonna have to find another. Is able to get ult pretty fast too with all those Vanguards out there. But Days is absolutely popping off. We saw this on Yggdrasil back in week 2. Man can play Strange at an elite level and seeing all that magic come out easily as Venom falls as well. Another wipe gonna happen for 100 Thieves. Only good news for them is there's still 2 minutes on the clock. Bad news is lots of ults incoming from Swamp. One of which most powerful and lethal combo in the game.
The ready, set, go button, as I always like to say, Cozy. And the Raging Royal Flush is in the advantage side of Swamp Gaming. They have it first. They're going to hold on to it because they want to combo that together with Mello and the Galactic Legend. Keep your eyes out, though, on what Vinny and TTK can do. Maybe an ante to follow up and shut down the Gambit as Mello pops it first. Raging Royal Flush to follow. Winnie, though, waiting with the It's Jeff to see if they could take on Valentina before Mello backs away, too, and also getting focused down by that Deadpool ultimate. An ante, too, to follow up, and they find Delena. Whether it be on the Psylocke, it's going to be on the Star-Lord, and then Winnie gets shut down too after popping the It's Jeff. Yeah,
interesting ban hammer there and just playing with their food at this point. Fully ready on the defensive as well. I mean, Days has all he needs in his kit. Look how far Days is up for the rest. Just once he's hungry for more. Gonna go and look for TTK now. Rotation and go ahead and go to the left side. Here comes the Raging Royal. This is the fight that 100 Thieves have to win. If not here, then win. Vicky, Forky Dog trying to stay safe. They know exactly who they're going for, right? Just great awareness from both strategists backed up, and there's the Happy Holidays, and oh my gosh, the slam down from the thing! Delena, sit down, says Kraz! It's disgusting!
Kraz more like crazy, man, because he's got something else. Clobbering time to shut down any sort of happy holidays. I mean, we know it's not the season, right? And Mello finding Self even going over to the Desperate Swap on the Iron Fist. Can anything be done? 100 Thieves are desperately trying to break through the chokehold, and this is the issue, right? The give and take. You don't ban the Elsa, then you have to deal with the Gambit. Now you're dealing with starting things off on the attack, and it's been so difficult when Swamp Gaming have everything.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I call him Scrooge, right? Hates Christmas. Either way, you have now Malaphobia and Valentina getting right back up to speed, getting that legendary ready to go. TTK trying to get that ban hammer rolling to get this team the winning advantage, but nothing added. Valentina now and the strategist getting it done, padding the stats. It is an absolute disgusting wipe after wipe. Goodbye, Thieves. Go back to jail. Lower brackets. Here you go. Man, this is their last desperation play. Delena throwing up the portal, looking for more Days, though, trying to counter as well. This is insane.
100 Thieves are suffering right now with the 100 crimes that we're currently seeing being committed. Millennia at least finds Days, who goes over and overextends here. Forky Dog has hands. Delena, I do not think, has been able to play the game. Galactic Legend, nobody to touch. 100 Thieves cannot even poke one toe on this point.
Oh my, it's like, you know what? Maybe that's why they banned the Gambit as well. And this is the problem. It's kind of the same there with Liquid. What do you try to get rid of? Because they're good at anything. They have great strategists. They have an insane duelist. They have, solid tanks across the board as well. So you give them something no matter what. And Valentina showing why Gambit is one to fear on her side. But yeah, 100 Thieves is going to have to play the defense of a lifetime because I don't think Swamp Gaming could have done that any better.
And you talked about, like, the awareness of the strategist, as Forky Dog, by the way, is hovering over the strap pool. That's going to be interesting because we saw Forky Dog on the invis, maybe swapping over. We're going to have to see if they roll out with this. But you mentioned Forky Dog having the awareness and also getting some help peels from Valentina just in case as a safety precaution when the invisible boundary came out. And you have to play like that when you're dealing with a Gambit on the other side. You know those antis are going to come out. You know these pros, they're trying to communicate and focus down on one target. You do not want to go down with that invisible boundary. Whereas we saw some big antis from both sides at some points, but then Delena honestly was just not able to play the game a lot of the times. Was constantly getting shut down. And we saw Delena actually get shut down a few times in 1v1 duels with Valentina.
Yeah, at one point you had Self there on Iron Fist, like just a little Easter egg cameo. Like, it's like that. If there's one tell sign of a team kind of going down, it's whenever you get just the crazy swaps in. Obviously, Self plays a great Iron Fist, but either way, trying to get something to work here. Here comes the team. Portal in together. Gamma's out. Shields ready. Daze is hunting. Ready for that magic. Throwing it on TTK. TTK at the Merc. Trying to do his best to keep this team back. They got to get one pick to get the snowball rolling. This team has done it the whole time, Vic. Looking for more. Great use of just good. Okay, 287 down. A lot of pressure on them. They can finish this off. If Scatter, though, is going to try to find something with the Rogue, and this is going to be it for Winnie.
Oh no, but Winnie's back against literally the edge of the map. The Luna goes out too. No sustainability for 100 Thieves. At TTK activates the banhammer here, but Kraz with the snipe finds Self. No bodies of 100 Thieves lasting on this point. It's just a matter of time, and Swamp Gaming looking for the speed run to end this series in a very clean 3-0 fashion.
100 Thieves, I can't feel you as Rogue gets rid of the Gambit. The disrespect to her lover. That was an absolute masterclass from Swamp Gaming. Exactly what they planned going into this thing. Everything worked out perfectly for them. 100 Thieves really have to figure out how to get a game plan together when you have so many strong players on the other side. I mean, Vic, Swamp Gaming, there's just no Achilles heel to this team.
I mean, look, again, I don't like to put so much money on the scrim bucks, but when 100 Thieves apparently are like 0-15 in scrims against Swamp Gaming, I mean, obviously, like, there's definitely something that needs to be worked on, but even better to see the consistency still flow onto a tournament day where it matters as Swamp Gaming progress through the winner side of the bracket. Valentina, your MVP, she's out here with the 16k healing as well as playing for Peels for Forky Dog, who didn't go down once, by the way. And then you look at the other side of 100. This is just so uncharacteristic to see, Cozy.
Yeah, for sure. And there's just so many pain points to highlight that it almost speaks for itself, right? Sometimes, you know, less words the better, especially when looking at kind of a dominating performance like that. Either way, man, Swamp Gaming, just more to say about the impressive survival as well with it. Gaskin, I know that you were watching from the sidelines, and what do you have to say for how well Swamp Gaming played that versus the Thieves?
3 casualties, just 3 throughout the entire thing. I mean, that just shows how difficult it is to pick them off. Just so well coordinated, always covering each other. It was something we've been mentioning all preseason, just how good they are at surviving and making sure that no one goes down, no one gets isolated, and making themselves very difficult to take down. Unbelievable from Swamp Gaming. I think we expected nothing less. Like, we know what they're capable of, but at the same time, we always want to have a better match. We want to have a closer match. We wanted 100 Thieves to show us what they could do, but I think it is back to the drawing board. I think they have been able to excel slightly, and they've been able to get to, like, the mid-tier now. They just can't quite reach the likes of Swamp Gaming and Team Liquid for me, and I do think there is still a lot to do, but with it being preseason, I guess it's not the worst time to be working these things out, Vicky. They are definitely going to be a team who we have to look out for in the lower bracket now, because remember, they're not done yet. That was just in the winners bracket, so they still can have that run in the lower bracket. Do you think we could see them go on a tear through that lower side?
I definitely can. I feel like, I mean, after the results that we just saw today, this is going to be a lot to dissect, right? So, you know, you got to make sure that you have the opportunity to turn things around because we got another match day tomorrow. So time is of the essence. But still, when it comes to even games like that, everyone, if you take a look at your own losses, even if you get completely stomped, there is so much to learn out of this. And I think for 100 Thieves, it does start at the pick and ban phase. When do you start changing things up? I think the number one thing, even though we did see the ban on the Elsa eventually, is if you're going to try to match a comp, you have to do it better. And if they're not excelling on the Gambit composition, when you take a look at Swamp Gaming, there's obviously something that needs to be worked on if these comps aren't flowing in the hands of these players.
The only trouble going up against Swamp Gaming, though, is if you get rid of the Elsa and you leave Gambit up, suddenly Valentina is going to be in a position where she can play Gambit. And Cozy, we know how incredible Valentina is on Gambit, or any strategist for that matter. How difficult is it to play against a good backline? Because I think that that's something that we've been noticing throughout preseason, just how important a strong backline is. And Swamp Gaming, they have one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, the stats, right? Whenever you look at getting 5 and 4 final hits compared to 1 and 0, it's like just so much more than that extra healing. But on top of that, I think what they do well is positioning. Like, a great example is when that Gambit ult went off. We saw them perfectly hide in the cavern, ready to know. They know exactly what 100 Thieves is looking for. So when you blow all your Qs and there's nothing to find, especially because you have someone like Invis who's impossible to find, I think just shows how well their rotation is. But yeah, what blows me away is both these teams essentially added 2 new players to the roster. All right, both of them. One looked like they've been 6 together for years. The other looked like they continue to try to find themselves in all of this. And that's what I think is so amazing about the team. You know, having strategists, such an important role for this game, be newcomers for this team. And it's essentially one of the big, points of why they're so good. It's amazing to see.
And Vicky, I mean, as Cozy is speaking, like, I think chemistry is a very important thing, right? You want to be able to have that chemistry. You want to be able to be together for a long time so that you can build that as well. There is going to be changes happening regardless. It doesn't have to be 100 Thieves, though. They could still take this time to build and say, look, if everyone else changes, then maybe we will still have one up on everyone else as well. How important do you think it is that these teams don't rush to make team changes going after preseason?
I think it's really important. I think, if you've really used up all your resources, not in terms of just coach and players, right? An analyst is really important too, which, by the way, like, a lot of people try to coincide both coach and analyst together. They are 2 separate roles and they both do individual things. Sometimes you will have the coach try to take that on to themselves, but I think splitting some of that workload and having another pair of eyes is incredibly important. And if I could be a prophet right now and just looking at how that bracket shape up is looking like let's say, yeah, we lost in our next series, goes down to that lower bracket. There's a high chance here that 100 Thieves will maybe have to face off against them. So we're going to have to see how that works out. But I'm even more excited to talk about that strong foundation of this team when it comes to the strategist, Gaskin.
Yes, I am, and we're going to have Valentina on board with us. Valentina, what an incredible performance that was from you and the rest of the squad. I'm delighted that we've been able to get you on because you have blown us away with your ability as a strategist. How are you guys at the moment? Like, did you expect that one to be as easy as it looked?
Well, with 100 Thieves, we haven't really ever struggled that much, and we've always kind of had a pretty good time against them. But no, they probably weren't as hard as Lunettes to be as nice as possible.
How does it feel when you see a lock-in ban phase go through twice, Elsa kind of gets through, and then in the end, Elsa gets banned, and you get to have Gambit and get to have a field day? Surely that must be the best feeling ever as a strategist, to be able to get given one of your best heroes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like either between me or Mello, and I think it's like pick your poison. So either you let Mello get Elsa and he carries the game, or you let me get I get Gambit and then I just carry the game. It feels good.
Yeah.
Listen, hey, Valentina, it's been so fun to watch you as a player. You're the GOAT. It's been awesome to see you back in MRCs to now, just to see the evolution of you as a player, but also going from ranked demon to just certified pro in every sense of the word. You're the GOAT. But let me ask you, obviously you guys scrim a lot against Team Liquid, and that's going to, I don't want to call it early, but that looks like it could be the matchup coming up. Ask me, how does this team stack up against them, and what do you do to ensure that you do walk away with a victory against a team that you know so well, both being good and someone familiar?
Well, I have a lot of confidence in my team, and Liquid is definitely our strongest competitor, and we're really, we really respect them, but I have a lot of faith in my team. I love my team and I love my teammates, and they're all so nice to me, and I love working with Porky, and I love working with Kaz and Danny and Mello. I love working with my whole team, and I think we can beat them as long as we just work together.
Awesome. It's just great to have you on here. I've been waiting to get the Valentina interview, so I'm pumped. Thank you so much for coming on. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so happy to finally talk to Valentina. You guys are like having a party back there. Someone's like throwing it back over on the other side, but you guys are having a good time, and I like the energy that you guys have. I mean, the way that you talk about your team, the respect that you have for the competition. When you take a look at Liquid Citadel, I believe when we had Cooper on here yesterday, they reflected something very similar too. Like he was basically saying that they respect you guys a lot. I specifically asked them about the backline and how they felt about Swamp Gaming's backline, and they showcased that respect. Going back into what could be the inevitable, how would you guys feel, you know, you look at this team and then you look at the action that's happening in EMEA, are Swamp Gaming and Liquid Citadel like the hopes that we need in the Americas when it comes to dealing with EMEA? How do you guys feel when it comes to looking at that region from the top of the top?
I mean, I've always looked up to other players like Sci-Fi from VP, and I always really liked Fate from Navi. And I think like in terms of our region, I also just like a lot of our teams that we have. And when it comes to EU, I do think we can beat them. I think like NA is really good, and I really like most of the players. I love Chime, I love Stinkers, I love Fame, I love Kurova. I think they're so good, and I think they can do really, really well into EU. And I think we have so much talent and so much more to bring.
Can I ask Valentina, obviously I just pointed this out, but both you and 100 Thieves had 2 new players come into the team. You were one of those new players coming into Swamp Gaming. How have you guys clicked so well, so fast, like you've been playing together for so long? I've listened into some of the comms on social media. It cracks me up. Like I love hearing y'all's comms as a team too. It sounds both panicked, but also organized. Like walk me through you joining, you know, what was this core 4 a little bit, right? And just showing that you guys have been like a family all along kind of thing.
I mean, as soon as I joined the team, there was one person that like I immediately clicked with, and it was like Mello. Me and Mello have kind of just like clicked, and we like had like so many jokes, and like this team was like really accepting, and they were really open, and like obviously if you know anything about me, my comms get pretty crazy, but they all love it and they all find it so funny, and I don't know, I couldn't ask for anything better.
I mean, Valentina, we are so lucky to have you with an interview. I think your team is very lucky to have you as well with how incredible you've been playing so far. Final question from our end. Obviously, we have Black Cat being released, has been released as well now. Not going to be played throughout preseason, but looking forward, you are incredible on White Fox. There's a lot of synergy with Black Cat and White Fox. Do you think that your team will benefit from some Black Cat play?
Absolutely. I think Danny will be amazing at it. I think Daze will be amazing at it, and I think Mello will also be probably really good at it as well. And I'm really, really excited to see it, especially with all the clips that I see all over Twitter and TikTok. I think she's going to be a great addition to the game.
Well, we can't wait to see you on Black Cat, or at least your team on Black Cat. I'm sure you'll be still on the strategist as always. Congratulations again on your win. Best of luck in your next matches, and we really appreciate you coming on for the interview.
Thank you.